Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I am out in front of what I call a holding bed on my property, and what it is basically a garden bed that I use for the temporary storage of plants. And I think this is absolutely something that is essential to a gardener who's doing a lot of plant propagation or just needs to have something for those impulse buys that they get from the store. So, and basically all it is a spot where you put your plants on a temporary basis until you're ready to put them into a new garden bed. And the story of this bed is basically all these plants here were at our previous property. We've got quite a few irises and a whole lot of daylilies in the middle here. And the problem was I'd bought them years and years and years ago and did a similar type of holding bed that eventually got overtaken by shade. And when we had so much shade, the irises and the daylilies no longer would bloom or produce flowers. So I completely lost track of what they actually were. And I'm just now starting to see some of these bloom here because they're in a full sun location and they're coming out, and I can start to either identify them or research them and try to identify them. Some of these I still don't know what their names are, and I don't even remember buying them. But you know, that's kind of what gardeners do. A lot of times we buy stuff, we forget what we bought, and then there it is. So that's one reason why a holding bed is essential. If you like to go out and you buy things on the discount rack or impulse buys, you buy some really cool plants at a nursery, but you don't know exactly where to put it yet. You have your holding bed, and you plant it in your holding bed, and you grow it for a little while until you have that spot ready. And then you just transplant it. This works great with perennials, daylilies, and irises, which are all perennials, of course, but it's not such a great thing when you're doing trees and stuff. In that case, what I would do is probably dig a pot into the ground and then put the pot that you bought it in there. That's assuming that the plant isn't already pot bound or something, because if it is pot bound, you're probably going to want to upsize that before you do that. So this is a really cool thing to do in your garden if you've got some room. And I'd recommend, having a couple of them, maybe one in the shade, one in the sun. That way you've got different options for different plants. And if you like to do a lot of plant propagation, just fill it up with your perennials, everything that you like to propagate from, and just have it as a holding area for your plant propagation experiments. Put your stuff back in, let it grow on, see how it does, and then transplant it out to the spot where you want it to go. Something like this would be a great idea if you're doing a home-based nursery. So you have your holding bed, you can plant them out, and then when they are flowering or whatever, you can have people come to your home-based nursery, take a look at it, and then you can dig them out as you go. So you don't have to have them in a big formal garden area, you just have them kind of rowed out and organized. So gradually what I'm going to do here is identify which irises and which daylilies I've got. I'm creating a little bit of a database on my computer through a spreadsheet, importing a photo into that spreadsheet so I can keep up with them in the future, because there's just too many things to remember when it comes to plants. You can kind of get the idea, maybe the basic names here and there and some of your favorites, but when it comes down to it, over time you do forget some of these plants and their names. So I want to have some sort of reference that I can go back and check them on. Once I've kind of ID'd these, I'll probably start putting them in different places in the garden. I've got quite a few irises up by the house. I'll show you some of those, and they're looking really good. This is a great time of year for irises. Today is April 16th. And so the irises are full on blooming just about everywhere. Some of the Siberian irises are a little bit behind, say these tall bearded irises here, but they are doing really well. It's been a great year for them. Now, that being said, we've had a lot of dryness and could really use some rain for these plants to look a little bit better, so I'm going to have to start doing some irrigating here in this bed. Now, when I created this bed, it was basically, I just took 4x4s, laid them out about where I wanted them to be, put down paper on top of it, just a biodegradable paper. You could use newspaper or cardboard if you want to. And then I mulched over top of it. I didn't add soil or anything like that. It was just mulch. And then I planted right into there. And these plants have done just fine. This is the second full year that they've been in here. And you can see we are starting to actually see some results and being able to identify what they are. So the purpose works really great. It's a holding bed. I definitely recommend that you try one of these out. It doesn't have to be this large. This one is probably 20 feet long by about 10 feet wide or 8 feet wide. It's probably 8 feet. So about 20 by 8, but you could make them smaller. You can scale them up and make them bigger if you want to as well. But it gives you a lot of extra options for getting your plants growing and your plant propagation, as well as those impulse buys from the store. So this is the holding bed. I hope you enjoyed this little video, and we'll catch you next time here on Growing the Home Garden. Don't forget to like and subscribe.